Knack was released as a launch title for the PlayStation 4 in late 2013, published by Sony Computer Entertainment America and developed by Sony Computer Entertainment Japan in collaboration with Mark Cerny. I was very interested in this game when it was showcased at E3 in early 2013. It was marketed as the next evolution in platformer beat-em-ups, and that intrigued me. I like a good platformer if done right, and this one could either make it or break it depending on how the game was made. So the only thing I wondered going into this game was, how can a platformer transition itself to the next level, especially if it's a next-gen title? So with that said, let's find out. Humans and goblins have been at a constant struggle over true ownership over the planet's resources. These resources, named relics, were the drive of everything. Lights, cars, and planes all relied upon its very existence. Dr. Vargas, who is the man behind further advancements in relic technology, creates Knack. Knack is a mysterious creature that is made out of several relics that can absorb other relics and could be the key to stopping the goblins from invading human settlements. This is where the entire cast comes into play, and while the story in Knack is simplistic in nature, does try its best to fill the story role as best as it could. For instance, when they meet up in the briefing room, the game gives you a small introduction of the cast and what their job description entails. It's fine, but I did feel that it was a cop-out in an attempt to press it in that the story will not be deep and enriching as I would have liked it to be. The one thing though about the story that is done right is its charm behind the cast. For instance, every character has their fair share of quirks and a bit of humor to go with it. There is even a bit of a love interest that is in this game that I will leave out for those who might want to experience it for themselves. The fact that all of this was introduced in the game, albeit in small doses, shows me that there was more that wanted to be played out in its writing department, but in the end fell a little short of the overall story being better than what it truly could have been. Knack visually is a stunning game. From the city detail to the forest areas, all really suit the game nicely. While not a system shower in terms of graphical detail, but just in terms of how many relics Knack's body itself can render is quite amazing. While I did like this, and it shows what the PS4 is capable of, I was also disappointed when the game encounters slowdown in the frame rate department. This was not constant as if to say the game suffers horribly in frame rate, but it does happen, especially towards the end of the game when Knack absorbs more relics. Again, not a deal breaker, but it does happen from time to time. The music in Knack is actually pretty good. I got a small vibe from one of the tracks in the game to be very Skylanders-like, and other times it fit the mood appropriately. I do need to note that the voice acting in the game is also very good. Every voice done in the game suits the characters that they are portraying very well. For instance, voice actor Josh Keaton, who played the role of Spider-Man, played the voice of Lucas, while Matt Mercer played Gundahar in Knack. These kind of voice actors in the game shows the quality that went into the game's voice acting, and that none of it was taken lightly. Knack's gameplay is essentially a platformer with some beat-em-up gameplay added in. Players will find themselves going from point A to point B, defeating tons of enemies that can range from goblins to humans, and depending on what difficulty level you play this game on, can sport an added challenge. To counteract this, Knack can absorb relics to further his strength as well as increase his overall health bar. This can be a little annoying because unlike other games where your HP is most of the time consistent and only increasing as you play the game, Knack's health bar is all over the place. It's supposed to give you, the player, the understanding that Knack relies solely on his relics in order to become stronger. The game's combat will consist of 3 main attacks, and no matter how small or how big Knack is, this sadly does not change throughout the entire game. However, you do have the ability to do very strong attacks on enemies by unleashing your relics on opposing ones. This requires these gold relics to be absorbed of its energy. You can store up to 3 at any given time and does not take very long to build back up. Knack does have the ability to dodge enemy attacks with small button prompts that will appear over Knack's head. Whether these prompts appear or not, dodging in the game is very easy to get accustomed to and can be quite fun. Throughout the game, Knack can absorb elemental abilities as well, such as ice and wood. That does carry in itself its own set of abilities. The downside to this is that it's only used in certain areas. I feel this was just thrown in to break up the gameplay a bit, but it does not add much else to the overall experience. I think my biggest issue with the gameplay is the fact that while it is a lot of fun, it really is not a game that you should play straight through. I think Knack's gameplay really does best when you take it all in little by little. Its combat can be in a small way repetitive due to its simplistic style, but what I do think helps the game is that it is co-op via couch co-op. While I have not tried this myself, I could see this being the key in making the gameplay that much more enjoyable. Once you've completed the main campaign in Knack, other features are unlocked, such as Chapter Select, Time Attack, as well as Coliseum mode. The game does have some other hidden items that are scattered throughout the stages, but it sadly does not add much else to the gameplay. Knack is a charmful game that pleases the platformer fans with some amazing locales, while giving beat-em-up fans something to experience along the way. I found myself loving the gameplay and simplistic storyline equally, albeit while lacking in the story department, it still was entertaining to the very end. The graphics, while not showing the PS4's true potential, does do a great job in showcasing Knack's relics being rendered down to every detail. Though the game does encounter slowdown from time to time, it does not ruin the gaming experience. Thanks guys for joining me right here on my first PS4 review of Knack. I'm Forrest, and I will talk to you guys later.
Go on, pick it up. Pick it up! Yes! They took the bait. We can follow them home now.